Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Chui Tsang. I'm the president of Santa Monica College. On behalf of the college, I want to welcome all of you to this special event. And we want to congratulate Bryan Cave for hosting this event here, second year in a row. Now, this is actually a working campus of Santa Monica College. The Broad Stage is a part of its Performing Arts Center of Santa Monica College. Behind this theater here is a campus where we house our music program. And every day we have about 2,000 students coming through here to this campus here. And of course, the rest of the college is located in different locations in Santa Monica College. Similar to the theme that you have today, the college has been a part of this movement on looking at global warming and try to be an active part of it. And this college is no different. This campus here, this part of it is finished about 3 years ago. Actually uses a lot of the more environmental friendly technologies when we built this place. So if you're out there looking for a parking space, if you're lucky, one of those lucky ones who found one, you find that there's a lot of loose gravels around, and it's done on purpose because that part of the gravel, that loose gravel, allow the surface water to drain back into the ground, and that was designed purposely. So I wish you a very successful conference, and I'm sure these important topics that you're dealing with will find its way to help the college and all of the young people that we're educating today in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you again, Dr. Tsang, and thank you to Santa Monica College for hosting us again this year. We're delighted to be back here to the Broad Stage for the second year in a row. And again, I'll echo the welcome on behalf of Bryan Cave. We welcome you all to our second annual CleanTech Roundtable. I just want to do a couple of quick thank yous, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you first, as I said, to our host, Santa Monica College. Thank you to Tesla and Portion for bringing the vehicles here for us to not only look at, but actually ride in for a few of us. Thank you to our strategic partners here today, CleanTech OC, CleanTech LA, and CleanTech Open. Thank you to my colleagues, Susanna Mitchell, Mike Levin, and Ben Allen, the Bryan Cave attorneys who are most responsible for the program today, as well as the Bryan Cave staff who were obviously instrumental in bringing this off, James Wood, Meredith Siegel, and Carly Peasley. And obviously we're starting a little bit late, so I will leave it at that and go ahead and welcome the first panel to please come on out and join me on stage now, and then I'll quickly introduce them and we'll get right down to it. Okay. So the first panel here today is Clean Technology Update, Policy Choices, and Successful Strategies. And what I think I'm going to do is I'll introduce each speaker one at a time as they begin their remarks rather than introducing everybody all at once. Before I introduce anybody, I just want to kind of put some of this in context. Just a couple of quick statistics for you in the renewable energy area. We import 3.6 million barrels of Middle East oil every single day. America's energy usage has been growing by 1% to 2% a year. We've got about 1 million megawatts of installed capacity, so that means we need to add about 10,000 to 20,000 megawatts of capacity each year just to keep pace. Of course, the alternative to that is to find ways to save 10 to 20,000 megawatts each year, and we'll hopefully hear some interesting remarks about how we can accomplish that later on. Despite everything that we're doing already to foster renewable energy use, the statistics are somewhere in the range of approximately 6% of global energy currently comes from renewable energy sources. And in fact, what I understand, the U.S. government's forecast is that fossil fuels will still supply 85% of world energy demand in 2030. So even 20 years from now, it's anticipated that renewable renewable energy will only supply 15% of our energy use. I hope they're wrong, and I think they may well be wrong. And we're certainly putting a lot of time and energy, and as we're going to hear in a moment, money into trying to do better than that. Many of you are familiar with the stimulus plan that the Obama administration put forth about a little over a year ago, the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act, or as we often refer to it as either the Recovery Act or the stimulus plan. Under that Recovery Act, the U.S. Department of Energy was allocated $36.7 billion in funding for clean tech efforts, and we are really very, very fortunate and very happy to have with us today an official from the Department of Energy, Steve Spinner. Steve is part of the Recovery Act team, and he has been with the Department of Energy for just a little over a year, joined as part of the Recovery Act team, and his official title, I understand, is Loan Program Advisor, but I already am quite clear in my own mind that that title doesn't do it justice. Steve is going to give us the inside scoop from the Department of Energy perspective on some of the most interesting aspects of what's going on these days, which is how is it that DOE is going to actually get all this money into our hands? What is it that cities and private companies can do to maximize their chances of getting their hands on this money? And what is the latest and greatest news in terms of what programs are available today and what might be coming down the road in the near future? So with that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Spinner. Steve, thanks again for being here.
No, my pleasure. Thank you very much. Is this on? So I've got about 10 minutes to chat here, and oh, my thing just fell, but hopefully you can still hear me. And anything that I forget to get to, please ask me and I'll follow up. But very simply, as was just mentioned, as part of the Recovery Act, the Department of Energy was given $36.7 billion. 32.7 of that were for contracts and grants, and $4 billion was appropriated subsidy on loans that generate about $33 billion of loans in total. Of that $32.7 billion, let's break it down for a second. $16.8 billion is for EERE, energy efficiency renewables. $6 billion was for environmental management. $4 billion, as I mentioned, was for the loan guarantee program. $4.5 billion was for the Office of Electricity, mostly for smart grid grants. $3.4 billion was for the fossil energy for CCSI. And then $1.6 billion was for the Office of Science for our R&D. And then lastly, and in many cases in the most excited manner, $400 million for ARPA-E, which is a brand new program that we did at the very early stage technologies that in most cases will actually completely fail, but if you get a couple of hits, they're change the world type of home runs. And so of all those monies, it's about 144 programs that we were asked to put out in a very short period of time. Very simply, the Recovery Act allowed the Department of Energy to essentially have 5 times the amount of money in a calendar year than they normally are given as part of their base programs. And instead of putting it out in the field through various solicitations and processes over a 2 to 2.5 year period of time, which historically has been the timeline for most programs within the Department of Energy, we were asked to do it as part of a 6 to 8 month effort. So if you think about it, 5x divided by 0.25, that was overnight a 20x operational improvement that was asked of the department. And with that, they brought on board Matt Rogers, my boss, who's the senior advisor to the Secretary for Recovery Act implementation. He himself built a team, 3 advisors on the grant side and me on the loan side, and then a number of special assistants. And so all of us worked very, very closely with all the various organizations, the various offices, in trying to streamline operations and, in effect, reform how the Department of Energy has operated historically, because we had to do it.